Today is the 1st of August, 2021, so it's time for another monthly update video in which I'm going to talk about what went on in July and what we've got coming up in August. I always like to begin by highlighting three big things. So big thing number one, which I'll talk about in the August portion more. I'm starting a new series of videos having to do with literature in speculative fiction that is, in addition to the worlds of speculative fiction, it'll be more like my core concept videos, shorter videos focused on particular works, ideas, thinkers, themes, all those sorts of things. Big thing number two, you should keep a lookout in my social media, and I'll also post it here in the community tab in my channel. I'm going to have some more classes coming out, the people who want online classes in the Listenable platform and also in my Reason.io Academy. So keep an eye out for those. And then big thing number three, a lot of behind the scenes stuff going on. My wife, Andy Shaka, and I have been tasked with organizing the big Stoicon this year, so we're doing a lot of planning, the fruits of which you should see coming out in August. And so you're going to want to look at the Stoicism Today blog housed on the Modern Stoicism site for that, but I'll also put things in my social media about that as well. July was supposed to be a super productive month, and it was, pretty productive, but not up to the level that I was looking at, in part because we've had some illness here in the household, definitely not COVID, but other things instead that sapped a bit of time and strength and energy. I also had 2 online classes going full bore through the month of July. And, in addition to being online classes, these are 6 and 7 week variations of what would normally be 15-week classes. So pretty intensive. And, we've been busy with a lot of other things as well. I had a lot of clients, a lot of meetings this last month. So video production, I produced quite a few things, and we had some online events. Worlds of Speculative Fiction, we brought the Philip Jose Farmer World of Tears thing to a close. We did a heavy metal class, me and Scott Terulli, that turned out quite well, about best albums by classic bands and what makes best albums best. I did my usual AMA, and we had Wisdom for Life with my co-host Dan. I did my Hegel sessions and other sessions for fans. And I went on to, what would we call them? They're officially podcasts or video channels, but they're really like forum discussions. So President Sunday invited me on for a discussion about James, conceptual James Lindsay's takedown of Hegel and, diagnosis of Hegelianism being involved in all these things on the left. And it was, his stuff is complete garbage and bullshit, but a lot of people who aren't very intelligent buy into it. And so we didn't get very far into it before glaring errors were coming up. And we had a lot of really great discussion about that. So that was interesting. And then I went on Acid Horizon to talk about Nick Land's Fanged Noumena. And that was some sort of mixed reception. The people who understand the material well were like, yeah, that's pretty good. The people who are sort of like Land acolytes, they hated it because we were criticizing Land. But that was a lot of fun as well. I did some podcast work. I continued with W.D. Ross, and then I started doing these shorts as well, did quite a few of those. Did some episodes on William James Pragmatism, Lecture 2, and some things on Chapter 3 of Pierre Hadot's Philosophy as a Way of Life, and we finished out the month starting some podcast episodes on Simone de Beauvoir's Ethics of Ambiguity, a very important work. Video work, I got 3 half-hour Hegel videos done. Not super happy about that, but it's better than 0. I didn't get any book review videos done, but I did get some other things. 2 videos about the city of Milwaukee that you might like. One was about the Bucks championship parade here in Milwaukee, which was very cool. We were able to be there for that. Also, one of those, flowers, bees, and in this case, there were some other things mixed in with it as well. So that's some nice stuff, and I'll be doing more of those. I did an unboxing video that was kind of fun to do about Wiley Wallaby licorices, which I think are pretty good. And we had all the events videos as well, and we did some core concept videos. They were mostly oriented towards what I was teaching in my classes. So, stuff on Mills, on Liberty, because we were discussing that work. Some videos on Judith Jarvis Thompson's The Trolley Problem, because we were discussing that. And we finished out with some videos on Richard Dawkins and Chapter 11 of his The Selfish Gene, where he's talking about memes, because we were talking about trolley problem memes, so we had to go to Dawkins for that. So that's July. The only other thing I can say about July is, those of you who are worried about Sassy, the 18-year-old cat, she's doing better. She's on various medicines. She's gained a lot of weight back. Actually, she's getting kind of chunky again and in good spirits, and she's gotten to go outside a few times, which she really enjoys as well. And I've been getting to the gym pretty regularly and seeing the effects and, taking the long walks that some of you see me posting images of in social media. So I'm feeling pretty good, except for the stomach bug that I had earlier this last month. So that is July. We have quite a few things coming up in August. So there's a lot of online events that you can participate or enjoy. You can watch videos later of many of these, and these are all in Central Time. So if you are in a different time zone, make sure that you check the calendar and check the time before you miss them, right? Every once in a while I have somebody who comes in and they miscalculated, and it's at the end of the event and they're like, oh crap, I missed it. So don't be that person, right? On the 7th at noon, we will be having the usual AMA, that's Ask Me Anything session, streaming. I'll answer as many questions as I can get to. I never get to all of them because by the end of the session, they have piled up quite a bit. Following that, on the 7th at 2 p.m. for my Patreon supporters, I'll be having a philosophy chat session. On the 11th at 5 p.m., we'll have our public Hegel Q&A and discussion session. That is for anybody who wants to come and talk about Hegel. You don't have to be a supporter of the Half-Hour Hegel Project in order to do that. You just have to show up for the video conferencing, and we'll talk about Hegel then. We have some regulars who show up. We always have some new people as well. On the 14th at noon and at 1:30 p.m., it's a 2-part event. We're going to have the Worlds of Speculative Fiction session devoted to the Weapon Shops of Isher novels by A.E. Van Vogt, one of my favorite classic Golden Age sci-fi authors. A lot of people don't like him, like Damon Knight, famously bashed him, but I actually think he's pretty good, and Philip K. Dick thought he was awesome as well. So you might want to show up for that. Easy enough books to get. You can find them online, and quick read as well, as opposed to some of the other session stuff that we have talked about. On the 21st at noon, Scott Cerulli and I will be hosting yet another classic metal class, open to anybody who's got an interest in the music. It's a video conferencing session. Scott and I are on camera. Nobody else is. We're having a lot of discussion. We engage the audience, and we tackle some sort of interesting issues in music history, music theory, philosophy, and their interconnection. On the 26th at 6 p.m., we'll have our MKE Stoic Fellowship meeting, and we're going to be looking at Cicero's On Duties, Book 2. That's a sort of in-depth study that I'll be there for as a resource, and we'll be discussing that text. And then on the 29th at noon, we'll have the political theory and practice discussion. I'm yet to deciding what I want to talk about in that session. That's a live streaming one as well. Then I also want to point out every week on Saturdays at 4 p.m. Central Time, you can listen live on the internet to Wisdom for Life, our radio show that I host with Dan Hayes, where we apply philosophy to everyday life. And this month on Thursdays at noon, Central Time, I will be doing live readings from my book, Reason Fulfilled by Revelation. So if you want to hear me, the author, reading from my book, and then stick around for a Q&A and discussion, that will be every Thursday this month. And that's pretty much about it as far as events go. So it's pretty packed, right? I'm going to be doing a lot more writing in Medium. As I mentioned, I'm bringing classes out in 2 different platforms, Listenable and my Reason.io Academy. I'm also going to be doing some more podcast stuff. We've got, more shorts coming up, but also more stuff on Simone de Beauvoir's Ethics of Ambiguity, the book where she managed to do what her partner Sartre could not do in All of Being and Nothingness. I'll also have some podcast episodes coming out this month on Alistair McIntyre's After Virtue, particularly one of the later chapters discussing the notion of a practice. And I'll have some podcast episodes on my colleague, John Sellers, and his really excellent article on philosophy as a way of life. Video stuff, I'm going to tell you about the new stuff at the very end, but let me just run down the list of what I'm going to be trying to get done this month. So core concept videos, I've had some Foucault thumbnails waiting for me to get them done for a long time, and I'm going to buckle down and get on to that particular article, which you'll see coming out, and then some Schopenhauer stuff as well. People have been asking for that for a very long time. Just so happens that coincides nicely with what I've got coming up in the classes I'm preparing for, my ethics classes this fall. I'll be doing, my half-hour Hegel as well. We'll try to see if we can get it back up to 6 videos a month or not. I'm going to do at least one more quick take advice video for viewers. I'll most likely be doing some personal videos, particularly given that it's my birthday this month. It's also the anniversary of my dad's death. So I'll be doing a bit of thinking about that sort of stuff, probably do some Sadler stories, and I've got a lot of book reviews that I need to get to. But before I get to the very end, let me tell you about the other kind of videos I'm going to be doing. So I am teaching a new kind of class for me this semester at Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design. It is a 15-week class that is focused on Ursula K. Le Guin's Books of Earthsea, which are, there's 6 volumes, but they're all available in one giant omnibus volume, along with some of the earlier stories that set the scene, like The Rule of Names, for example. And we are going to be spending the entire 15 weeks looking at these wonderful novels and short stories from philosophical, literary, anthropological, political, all sorts of perspectives, and including illustration. So I am going to be shooting an entire new sequence of videos on Ursula K. Le Guin's Earthsea stuff, also on a few other things like her From Elfland to Poughkeepsie essay, which is about what fantasy fiction is about, and it's metaphysics, you could say. And I thought, well, this is a great opportunity for me to do something I've wanted to do for a while. So I'm going to be shooting some new videos, and they're going to be shorter. They're going to be focused not just on philosophy, but on all these other things having to do with speculative fiction. And I'm going to begin with Ursula K. Le Guin with 2 of her stories, but I'm also going to begin with something else that I read as I was preparing for the Philip Jose Farmer, and I want to follow up on, which is his story, The Lovers. So that will be coming out this month as well. New videos, new kinds of videos, and hopefully people will enjoy them and get something out of them. So a lot of stuff coming up in this month of August. 2 of my classes, Ethics for Artists and Designers and Ursula K. Le Guin's Earthsea, Philosophy and Literature, are starting towards the end of the month. And I'm also gearing up for the 3rd class that I'm teaching for Carthage College, a business ethics class, which will begin in September. So there we go. Hope you can make it to some of these online events, and I hope you have a great month ahead.